There are no perfect relationships or perfect marriages. People fight in marriages, but the only difference is how do they fight, and after fighting, how do you reconcile? This is not focus on the makeup sex or makeup making love or whatever. But when you know your partner, when they're extremely angry or when they're just irritated, and you know how to respond. And at times, we forget to respond with empathy or sympathy, and we go overboard, and that's when fights actually start to happen or go all crazy. But if you know your partner and you know what they've been going through, instead of adding paraffin to the fire, why don't you ask for some time out? Say, I hear you, babes, or I hear you that you're angry, but let's take some time to reflect on this and talk about it some other time. It works because that's proper communication in any relationship. Because if you want to bring the past issues and she wants to bring the past issues and fighting, you're not going to hear each other, because all you're doing is you are responding. You're actually listening to respond and not listening to understand, so that you can actually understand what they're saying and then be able to process and respond accordingly. We usually put our emotions ahead before we even think about how our words are going to affect the other person. I remember a few years ago, I think we were just disagreeing with my husband. His friend had just passed on and he was planning to go to Zim. And I just felt like I'm being left out, because that guy was one of his groomsmen. So I just felt like I also wanted to go. I also wanted to be there for his wife, because his wife and I were friends. And my husband was like, so I'm going to drive to Zim, so can I use your car so that I can pick up some of our friends from Joburg and then we go to Zim? I'm like, but what about me? All fighting. Like, I was just like, so you think, what's the wife going to think about me? Like, I don't care, and what? And he just said, babes, are you listening to yourself? I just asked. If you wanted to come with, you could have just said, can I also go? I didn't say you can't go. I just said, can I use your car? Because I didn't think you want to go. And I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just take some time and think about it, and then I'll get back to you. And my cousin just looked at us like, so that's it? You guys are done fighting? And we were like, yeah. And she was like, so is that how people fight in marriages? So why do we have so many broken marriages? And I'm like, no, people fight differently. We fight differently with my husband, and our rule is we never go to sleep angry at each other. We have to know that the other person might still be angry and they're processing their feelings, but it doesn't mean they don't love you. They just need some time to go through their feelings, and then we'll talk about it some other time. Rather than going to bed, ignoring each other, even moving into the other bedroom because you don't want to look at that person, you don't want to talk to that other person. That's not healthy. Relationships, especially marriage, is spiritual. You will start inviting other evil spirits when you always like, I'm done, and then you move out. I'm done, and you move out. I'm done, you pack your bags and you go. What if he doesn't follow you? What are you going to do? And then you say, he doesn't love me, he didn't even follow me, or she doesn't care about me anymore. No. Learn to communicate and fight in a healthy way. Your fights should bring out the best of the relationship, not the beast in you. the best in the relationship and not the beast in you. Because the moment that beast comes out, that beast has issues from the past, not even from the current relationship, but even from what he grew up seeing or what she grew up seeing, what they experienced in their previous relationships or even previous marriages. Whatever breakdown challenges that they had, they are bringing them as a beast. And that's not healthy, because you end up saying words that will hurt the other person, and that's not a good thing. So whenever you decide to fight for the relationship, fight for the best of the relationship, and not to bring out the beast in you. Think about the next person. And I know it's so hard, especially when you are angry, but you need to breathe and hear yourself talk. And when the other person asks for time out, it doesn't mean they don't value your feelings, your emotions. It doesn't mean they don't care, but they just also need their own time to understand what just happened, to process, and be able to talk about it at a later stage when you are all calm. That's what we learn in the Prepare or Enrich Marriage course. Communication can make or break your marriage. Communication can make your relationship, can actually help your relationship grow. And that's what you need. You need to be able to grow. If you were a person who expresses their anger in a different way, you need to start refocusing on the best way that you can say your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions, and give the other person some grace, because they are not you. They don't really understand 100% what you are going through. So if they choose to ask for some time, give them that time so that you talk about it when you are all 100%, when you all have processed and you actually have time to understand each other, to discuss with love and understanding. And I hope that makes sense. Keep well.